taking action for you.
PULSEBEAT. Welcome to the NABJ Award-winning and Emmy-nominated PULSEBEAT with Greg Dunmore. When you think of the word homecoming, hopefully you think of something exciting, and when the home is Detroit, and there's a homecoming that spotlights some dynamic people.
I'm Jalen Rose, founder of the Jalen Rose Leadership Academy.
Think of Detroit homecoming, and we had a chance to talk to some outstanding expats, people who are from Detroit that have done outstanding things throughout the world. They were brought back to Detroit, and we're going to talk to some very exciting people who call Detroit home, and they're doing dynamic things all over the world, as well as there was another homecoming that took place at Pencil Lewis College, which is a school of design, the newest HBCU, which is a historically black college located in Detroit. And we talked to some dynamic footwear designers who had a retreat for black men that we had a chance to spotlight some outstanding black male footwear designers. And I'll tell you that it's something that you're only going to see if you watch PULSEBEAT with Greg Dunmore. We're about to have a new mayor, and in a country where the political climate is very challenging, the Detroit homecoming, what might be the challenges that you've seen? It's from when you first started, and are you encouraged by what is going on, especially in today's very problematic political climate?
So when this program started, the city was in bankruptcy.
10 years ago, Detroit Mayor Mike Duggan hopped in a snowplow on his first day in office to assess how well the government he'd just taken charge of was performing its most basic service. It was a make or break moment for the Motor City, having just become the largest municipality in American history to file for bankruptcy.
It was a different Detroit. There was a lot of signs of disinvestment in, neighborhoods, downtown. A lot of change has happened. Since homecoming alone has helped spark over $1 billion of investment in the city over the 12 years. And you look around downtown, it's just a different vibe, right? Someone said, one of Detroit's best exports is talent, but we just really put network out to find people who have lived here, worked here, grown up here, maybe have deep roots in the city one way or another. And we use our network, and we also rely on our network of, we call them our expats, to help us find, I think someone gave a shout out to Cass Tech today and half the room responded. So, we look for people who just are really have the means or the energy or the capacity to give back.
Detroit Parks Coalition, that's a group of 12 parks across the city that are working together in one voice to program together, to fundraise together, and a lot of that partnership is with the Pistons and the Davidson Foundation. I think that sports is definitely a platform to develop youth, and these folks prove it every single day. But we need more kids to participate and join, and they shouldn't have to be elite athletes, and there shouldn't be all these barriers to do so. The data says active kids do better in school. Active kids are more likely to go to college. Active kids are more likely to be active and healthy adults. And I think sometimes youth sports feels like a nice to have, but it really is a must have, I think, for communities. We've got a similar entity called Project Play, Southeast Michigan, which sits at the Community Foundation. Is a great entry point if you want to support youth sports organizations across the region. And then I think the one of the things that excites me most is the Joe Louis Greenway work, which will connect a lot of what you're seeing downtown into the neighborhoods, which I think will be critical and a huge part of Detroit's future.
At the Pistons is the work that we're doing to bring a WNBA team back to the city of Detroit. And as part of that, we're planning to develop a dedicated practice facility, a community-facing campus, both to serve and be the home for the WNBA team, but we're also planning to develop, as part of that, a youth sports facility and academy really to help promote access and equity in youth sports, to give kids in and around Detroit a place to go play, a place to go learn, a place to go develop, to make sure that every kid in the city of Detroit, regardless where they live, has a place to play, has facilities, has fields, has access. And that's something, as Jim said, we're working together with Jim and his team. We're working together with Jalen and his team. We're excited to work with a broad coalition to maximize the impact that we're trying to have through this facility and through bringing the WNBA team back here to Detroit.
Rebound Smith, and Detroit, after finishing under 500 last year, wins its second WNBA championship.
I'm an elite athlete. I competed on the national team for 10 years, 3 world championships, coach an Olympian, in the Hall of Fame. We do really good gymnastics. So to do that one, we have to raise money and give them the best coaches possible. And gymnastics takes time, so we're always looking for more space for practice. But what we've been able to do is have the kids learn this sport. They may switch and go to other sports, but if they want to do it, we take them all the way. This November, I have 3 athletes that are going to world championships in Spain on the national team in tumbling. So we figured out a way to offer it to all levels, and you'd be surprised of what great citizens we're making out of these gymnasts.
Kronk, for those of you who remember, the original gym was located in the basement of the John Kronk Community Center. And the key word for me is community. So our commitment to the youth is also going to be interacting with a lot of other local business owners and people involved in the community to make sure our kids have an opportunity for adventures outside the ring. Because let's be honest, boxing is a tough road to go. But we want to make sure, again, that the youth that come through those doors at the gym have an opportunity in the future to participate in other events. We're working with a lot of our former world champions from around the globe to offer almost like a foreign exchange program where our fighters can go compete overseas, get to experience different cultures, get to travel. And life after boxing is also very important. So we're looking to partner with other local business owners to make sure that our kids can participate in after-school programs, job training skills, and also, again, not everyone's going to become a champion in the ring, but we want to make sure through these creative partnerships we're exploring, they can become champions outside the ring.
One thing that immediately came to mind as we talk about the kids we want to influence, I just want to say to the room, I actually have in high school that we started 15 years ago that literally has 420 kids in there right now, and another 1,000 graduates that we serve. Because, thank you. We're a public school, we're entering our 15th year, and we're uniquely a 9 through 16 model, which means we're influencing them while they're in high school, plus we also give and provide them support in secondary education. So whether that's a 2-year, 4-year college, trade school, military, cosmetology, whatever they choose to get into, we still, as a high school, provide that support for them post-secondary. And that's very unique because, to be honest, you can't get much nowadays with a high school diploma. And so it's important to give them that second level of support to try to put them in position to chase their goals. So the young people that you guys are hoping to influence, I have 1,500 of them for you. I really do. That's the first thing. And uniquely, I took over a middle school, Vandenberg, for those from the Northwest side, right off 8 Mile and Hubble, and converted it into a high school. That means we have an elementary school gym. The old school caffeinasium, the tables come out of the wall. That's what we have. We've never played a home basketball game. We don't have the facilities. So it's up to me to, for example, partner with WC3D, which I've done. Big shout out to Dr. Ivory. Big shout out to my co-founder, Michael Carter, our founding team, our board members, our staff, our students, and believing in the vision. And so we've made a commitment to young people on a daily. When I leave here, I'm going there. And we just partnered with Henry Ford Health to hopefully have a secondary facility that's going to now become the high school, the upper school. because it's now going to have a gym and it's going to be functioning as a high school. And so now the young people we have will be in the lower school. So in a couple of years, 27, 28, I hope to be influencing 1,000 kids every day.
I think what we see is that we want to not only, like, here we are at the Hudson, this beautiful symbol, but we want to look at the investment here and also see how can we spread that out to the rest of the city. So that has been one of our focuses this year, and going forward is, our theme was Rising Together, Elevating Detroit. So we want to make sure people are connecting with neighborhoods as well as with the amazing work downtown.
Why would Detroit, which created an empire in arts and culture, not have the come to Detroit for success?
Well, I think it's a lot of things. I think there's a branding around that to the rest of the nation and to the world that they're not looking at Detroit with, they don't know Detroit. When you don't know Detroit, you make bad guesses about Detroit, and there's not enough. I believe investing in the storytellers around Detroit helps to shape Detroit's image, really. So, I think about like New York, and what like a filmmaker like Spike Lee or filmmakers like Woody Allen did to showcase like the breadth of New York City. When we go, I move out to Brooklyn for the first time, I'm like, I'm in a Spike Lee movie, you know what I mean? That's what it feels like, or when you're in Los Angeles and you're driving around Los Angeles, you're like, oh, this is where that film is, this is where this movie is, and this is where that story was taking place. There's the storytellers have become ambassadors to the city in so many ways. I think Detroit's storytellers can also be invested in so that they can tell stories about, and I don't mean even about Detroit like there's an agenda, but if you're a Detroit artist, naturally when you're telling a story, your stories will be set in Detroit locations and just places that are significant to you and that you have access to. And I think the more that happens, the more it creates sort of a inspiration and an outreach that makes people want to come here and experience what is here. But you need to invest in not just the filmmakers, but like all of the storytellers out of the city of Detroit help to get Detroit's message out to the world.
PULSEBEAT. Every summer, something powerful happens on Detroit's west side. It's called Light Up Livernois, a celebration of food, fashion, art, design, and the culture that drives it all. But it's more than a festival. It's a spark of economic growth, a platform for local artists, creators, and small businesses, and a movement that lights the way for neighborhood development and community pride. Each year, this event draws thousands, boasts sales for local merchants, and it shines a spotlight on the creative energy rooted right here in the city on Livernois Avenue. From live performances to open galleries, street fashion to custom installations, Light Up Livernois highlights the University District, Live 6, Live 7, the Avenue of Fashion. Because of our community partnership, Amazon, along with Rocket Classic, PulseBeat Media, Hot 107.5 Radio, and Michigan Chronicle, merging 4 distinct shopping and dining districts, creating synergy. It's about driving talent and tourism to our neighborhood. It's about business attraction. Light Up Livernois, where culture thrives and community shines.
Attention timeshare owners. We're offering you a way to legally get rid of your timeshare. So call right now to qualify and receive a free consultation. You can terminate your timeshare legally and permanently. Call the number on your screen today.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available.
PULSEBEAT.
One of the dynamic things about these homecomings that we're spotlighting is that the world is discovering that Detroit is a place that defines excellence, and the people that spread the good news, they either come from Detroit and they take it out of Detroit, or they're coming into Detroit, defining that this is a city that is wonderful and a city that really does offer the world a whole lot of dynamic things.
First of all, there is a vibe. There is definitely a very cool vibe coming from Detroit. And one thing I've noticed is that artistry is infused in everything that happens in Detroit. That's sexy. And not to mention the historical value of Detroit and all the people who have come from Detroit. I mean, everybody knows about Motown, but there's so many. I mean, just like this alleyway, you know, there's a plaque there that talks about the Parkers. This is Parker's alleyway.
Who was an African American?
Yes, who was one of the first landowners, and just the style of it and the feel of it. It's beautiful, really.
Well, Detroit Homecoming is something I was familiar with, I had heard about, however, hadn't experienced. And this was my first time coming to the Detroit Homecoming, and it was amazing. It was really eye-opening, it was really insightful, it was really encouraging and inspiring. And, you know, I don't believe that things happen by chance. I believe that things happen because they're supposed to, and things are the way they're supposed to be. So this was the moment for me to see essentially what all the hype was about, that my friends had been trying to get me to come. You gotta come to homecoming, you gotta come to homecoming. I'm like, all right, whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm there all the time because of what we do at the Aretha, you know, so I'm home. You know, they call people who have left and live away expats, or people who have left and come back boomerangs. But I'm starting a new term, the tether. I'm a tether because I'm out there, but I'm still connected.
Right.
And I come back and forth, but I'm still linked very much so to the D.
You know, Detroit is a city that's still approximately 86% black, according to the last census, somewhere there about, maybe 84. But still, that's a vast majority of the city. And I think a lot of people feel they're either maybe being ignored or discounted or left out or not respected for the time and energy they put in here to stay here and to keep it whatever it is that people can come and build upon. Because you can't build on nothing. So, you know, give due to the folks who've left something to stack on top of, right? So I've been involved with Crane's Homecoming for years, primarily as a participant, the last few years a little bit more as an ambassador, because I do want to see it reflect the city. And I was very proud last year because I was talking to Mary Kramer, who's one of the co-founders, and Jim Hayes also, and Colleen Robar, who was director last year, and Claire was involved also, Claire Pfeiffer, who was this year's director. And they felt that last year visually reflected the makeup and the demographic of the city more. And I felt I was a part of that, so I stayed to be on the committee this year and hopefully help increase that factor.
I definitely am hoping that all of the people, the influencers that come and realize how wonderful Detroit is, will take it back to where they come from and let them know that this place is extraordinary in many, many ways. And I'm just happy to be a part of this because I love Detroit in a way I can't even explain. And that's another thing, I've heard a lot of people from here say the same thing. Like the ones that are the expats, the people that are in the Detroit Homecoming, they have a love for this place that I understand. And that's why I believe the Detroit Homecoming was developed out of a need. You know, it was a natural thing to happen because of the way people love Detroit.
PULSEBEAT.
All aboard!
There's a new way to travel, and it's one of the oldest forms of transportation. Travel by train. Yes, consider traveling around the United States on Amtrak. Traveling by train is a lot less of a headache than taking a plane, and you'd be surprised how many places you can go on an Amtrak. And there's no passports or IDs needed. Find out how to get where you're going as soon as tomorrow by train. Call the Amtrak Travel Hotline right now. We'll book your trip and email your tickets within minutes. Skip the drive to the airport and skip the lines. Call right now to book your Amtrak reservations. We service most of the United States. Do something new. Travel by Amtrak today. Find out how to get where you're going as soon as tomorrow by train. Call the Amtrak Travel Hotline right now.
Call 855-827-5004. That's 855-827-5004. Again, 855-827-5004.
What's happening in entertainment with Greg Dunmore of PulseBeat.tv.
If you like what we're doing, please tell a friend, or if you want to see what we've done again, go to PulseBeatGlobal.com. That's PULSEBEAT global.com. You can also go to our PULSEBEAT TV YouTube channel and you can revisit what we're doing. And once again, you can tell everybody that we're doing something that is so exciting that they wouldn't want to miss it. Remember PULSEBEATglobal.com or the YouTube channel PULSEBEAT TV. Thanks for telling the world about it. And there was another homecoming that took place at Pencil Lewis College, which is a school of design, the newest HBCU, which is a historical black college in the city of Detroit. And they are doing some things that signal excellence in foot design. They have a conference, the BFF, the Black Footwear Forum, and we talked to some, well, history-making black footwear designers. So continue to watch and you're going to meet some people that we're excited to introduce you to. BFF Black Footwear Forum, and you are history making. So let this audience know, would you do us the honor to let us know why you have to be noted in the history of black, well, really the history of designers?
Oh, that's exciting. I'm very honored, thank you. I got to be the first black designer in the footwear industry, which has been like this wonderful thing. You know, like one of my favorite scriptures, it says promotion comes from the Lord here this Sunday morning. I feel that I was blessed to be in a situation because at the time when I came into it, it wasn't all of this, but now it's an industry. It's a place where people can come and create identity, not only for themselves, but for everybody around them. So I was very blessed to be a designer and to have been able to work with really great, a lot of Nike's great athletes, Mr. Jordan, Serena Williams, Andre Agassi back in the day. I was there 41 years.
Now, when President Trump potentially says he's a DEI hiree in this age of diversity, equity, and inclusion, which is being frowned upon, how would you address that when somebody would say, well, you know, he got his position not because of excellence, but because of affirmative action, DEI? What might be your thoughts?
Well, I think that DEI happens. It comes out of civil rights. I came out of the 60s. And so basically, just be civil. One of the problems is that our culture, black people, we were not treated civilly. And so there was a problem. And so this has been more of an attempt to repair the problem, not a reparation, but an attempt to repair the problem. And so that's all diversity and equity and inclusion is to basically bring the equation back. And it is an equation. It's not just, you know, you want to promote diversity. What you want to promote is equality. You want to promote things to come to the same level. So it's not even a conversation. 5 does not equal 3. It's not. That's not it's an equation. So you need to bring everything to 5, and that's all that DEI is bringing everything to 5.
Now, I'm curious to know what inspired you to become a footwear designer. That's very unusual.
That's fun. Thank you so much. I love your show, and I love where you're coming from. Mom. Mom's amazing. When I was 5 years old and I'm playing around with building blocks, she goes, well, you should become an architect because architects make lots of money. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'll be an architect. That's the first, 4-syllable word I learned or whatever. But basically, she's the one who was the inspiration really for me as a kid. And I studied architecture all the way through school. That was my North Star until I came out. I worked in the world of architecture for a couple years, but then there was the industry was not really happening at that time, a lot of recession. And so my friend told me, hey, Nike's hiring people to do architecture for inside the company. I got to get a Nike eventually, and then inside of there was an intentional man there, a guy named Tinker Hatfield, who was the corporate architect. He's also now the guru of the footwear industry. He hired me as his architectural assistant. So he's the guy who kind of helped open the door for me. And so Tinker got me in there, and I followed along Tinker's path. And so as I say, that intentionality was really part of the DEI expanse of Nike, and it's really what's been exciting is now being the first black footwear designer. They've now named their footwear design studio here after me, which I'm so honored. Dr. Dwayne Edwards did that here at Pencil Lewis College of Business and Design, and now I get to be an inspiration for the next generation of designers.
End of middle school, high school, that it clicked that, oh, this can be a job. This can be a career path. I never met a footwear designer, never met a designer, period. But every time my pencil hit the paper or pen hit the paper, whatever I had in my hand, I was drawing shoes. So that just innate passion plus my grandma's direction of you should design for other people eventually evolved into designing shoes for other people. But even before that, not being able to, my parents to afford the shoes and the number of shoes I naturally wanted as a kid, I would draw what I couldn't have.
So now, who gave you your first professional opportunity to put your name on something as a footwear designer?
Timberland, actually. I started at Timberland in 2018 and started as an intern. Had to prove myself, and they only gave me a 6-month internship. From that 6-month internship, I was able to parlay that into a year-long internship. And from that year-long internship, I just kept working, and got a full-time position.
I'm a PLC alum. I did the Hoka footwear design track last year in October.
And you're from what city?
I currently live in Atlanta, but I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I came here to learn from the greats, and I'm happy I was able to. Being here isn't something you can put into words. It's actually an energy. It's a feeling that you get, because when you're here, you're surrounded by individuals that love, have the same passion for the things that you love, which is usually footwear or design. And you get to meet people from all walks of life. Like I just met Andrew, right? He from Baltimore or Maryland, who designed at Timberland. This form, maybe in life I'm destined to meet him somewhere else if this didn't exist, but because of this I was able to meet him. But not only him, tons of other people that I looked up to that I thought I would never have access to, like Wilson Smith III.
Back in the day when I was an elementary school kid, and when we said I was black and I'm proud, that still exists today, and that has matured, and now it's in corporate America everywhere, and it's own your power. That's literally what it is. It's learning how to own your power. You know what I'm saying? We all have that power inside of us, and now this event, this beautiful annual event, is teaching us to own and master that flame that we have within.
Thanks for watching what we consider to be some who knew and now you know moments on PULSEBEAT with Greg Dunmore. Until the next go round, we appreciate you.
PULSEBEAT.